person living here in the Kennesaw, Georgia area, and I work as a software engineer at the Home Depot here in Atlanta. I've grown up in an environment that was not designed for me, and I'll tell you all about it. My brain does not function like other people's do. It thinks, processes information faster, and it thinks like a supercomputer. But on the social going side, the results are far less stellar. As a kid, I could not even understand idioms. Why is blackmail called blackmail? I don't see cats and dogs falling from the sky. Walking on air, we're not flying. Thank you. So, when I was 1 year old, I could say certain words without much trouble. I could solve the alphabet puzzle in a snap. But when I reached 2 years old, I could only imitate words I heard from other people and on the TV screen. This phenomenon is called echolalia, which is the meaningless imitation of spoken words. I could not even understand the social cues when Dad came home. I did not even say mama until I was 4 years old. Mom and Dad thought I was deaf, but they realized I had very good hearing when they crinkled a package of oatmeal cream pies, and I knew that was my favorite snack. So, when Dad was working all the time, Mom had to stand by my side, advocate for me, and fight for me. This is a sacrifice they need to make because when they were doing research on autism, they discovered that if a child affected with autism couldn't speak or write or read or interact with other people by the time they reached 6 or 7 years old, then they would be stuck in that non-responsive autistic mindset for the rest of their lives. So Mom spent some of the savings on in-home ADA therapy and other things like speech therapy and occupational therapy. And by the time we moved to Huntsville, Alabama, Mom was ready to advocate and fight for me to be in an inclusive environment in an elementary school. So Mom set up this thing with the Whitesburg Elementary School people called an IEP, meaning I would go to a social worker. No, not social worker, but social ed teacher. And I went through the elementary school years, and my social ed teacher told my mother to not get her hopes up of me ever going to a private school or to college. By the time I reached the 4th grade, I was exceeding many people's expectations of me when I was 4 years old socially, and I already had many friends in the class. When we moved to Atlanta, Georgia, we discovered that there were a lot of big schools, not a lot of smaller schools like I was used to in the smaller towns. So Mom homeschooled me for 2 years. When David, my brother, started going to North Cobb Christian School, a private school, Mom called up North Cobb Christian School and asked if they were interested in taking me as a student. They said to her they would make a place for me since that school was a small school and the environment was perfect for me. and I went there for 4 years. At 10th grade, I transferred back to public school and attended many advanced technology courses. I finished the rest of my K-12 tenure at Kennesaw Mountain High School, and Liz Owen, my social ed parapro, accompanied me the rest of the time I was there. I graduated in 2010, the same year that Timble Grandin, one of my heroes, a famous autistic professor, appeared in the 100 most influential people in Time magazine. So since I did very well in high school thanks to my IEP and one-on-one and taking quick tests out of class, and when the time came for me to go to college, Dad was working at part-time at Kennesaw State University. He decided he would take the reins from my mother in advocating for me in college. He would talk to the professors that I was autistic and that was different from other students, and that I would need to learn differently because he had special access to the system because he was a member of the faculty. So I started going to KSU, and let me tell you, college is a much different beast than high school. The learning was different, the studying was different, everything was different. I remember calling the whole experience ambiguous. So Dad helped me to adjust my study habits so I can pull off a good tenure through college. I was able to take classes thanks to my individual education plan, and I drove myself through a short commute to the classes on basic back roads, and thanks to my IEP, the Cobb County Board of Regents was able to get me adapt the IEP that I had and transfer it over to Kennesaw State University so I could have that status where I could have counseling, a dietitian, psychiatrist, one-on-ones, and taking tests separate from the classroom. I graduated in 2015. I got my first job as a software engineer at a company called Systems Atlanta. It did not go as well as I wanted it to. I was unprepared for the unscripted work environment. I was unprepared for the open communication, and I kept on failing to meet their expectations. So I quit and looked for another position and joined the Home Depot in 2016. Back then I was still adjusting to the corporate world, but after 2.5 years of working professionally, I believe I may have notched it. At first I felt like I was performing like I was one of the weakest members on my manager's team, and I felt like I feared that I would be put in a different position within the company. And after getting some constructive criticism from my boss about this, I went home and Dad and I came up with a strategy to help me change my work habits so that I can meet or exceed Home Depot's expectations. The corporate world expects open communication, and they also expect high tolerance of anyone from all walks of life. after implementing those strategies for 6 months and working for the Home Depot for almost 2 years, the managers and the people that I work with see that I am more considerate, that I am more entrepreneurial, and that I am more willing to take on the tasks with the drive to actually succeed and do well. And I believe that I am succeeding because I'm watching the others coworkers in casual and commercial communication pull off their task and sort of learning how they do it. And that, I believe, has helped me go for this inclusive environment known as Home Depot. Autism awareness continues to grow as the years go by. There are websites that on the internet that discuss the untapped potential of this amazing brain power that can help make this world a better place. My advice to young parents with a child who has autism or who have autism themselves, don't give up. Surround yourselves with those who have a inclusion mindset. That includes schools who are willing to take in students who have different learning styles and adapt to those learning styles so they can help these students reach their maximum potential. Also, when you work in the corporate world, look for a company that is inclusive and is willing to hire these people who are different from the other coworkers they usually hire. The best part is that autism awareness still continues to grow and is getting more aware in the corporate world. Finally, and this is me personally, I want you to continue to have faith that God will have the best place in mind for you and your child, and that He'll be able to provide for him or her, and that he can take what you feel is your child's inadequacy and change your mindset to realize that your child has value. Autistic people are very special and contribute so much to the world around us, and they can succeed. And I'm here today to tell you that it is possible. Thank you for having me as a speaker at your school.